I'm doing a project, an art project, actually for some people for a change rather than just for shits and giggles. And I needed a bunch of circles, well, 3 circles actually, but of differing sizes. And I looked up, circle cutting jigs for a plasma cutter, and there are a lot of them out there, but they all have one thing in common, and that's that they cost, money. And I'm kind of looking to be cheap here, so I built a rig good enough to make circles. That's a printer rod. This is just a piece of steel strap, a couple of old nuts for it to slide through. If you loosen up the nut, you can move this in and out. This part, again, is just a piece of printer shaft, and I've got it welded onto, this was off of a bicycle. This was what held the seat on. I kind of ground it and beat it off of the rest of the tubing. And the nice thing about this, you can run this down or out and change that hole size for different cutters or different other tools, whatever you want to do with it. One thing I found was kind of important was having that hole in line with this, because otherwise it wants to go sideways, and when it goes sideways it wants to bind. A lot of the ones I've seen built online, they used a bearing at the end so that you could just stick it in the ball bearing and then there's no scraping, and it's a lot more precise because you don't have to have any room for play. I would have done that if I had a bearing with the right internal diameter, but this works for now. Also, a lot of these I've seen have like a wheel on the end of them that rides on the surface, and that would have been a great idea, actually. I could have put like a hinge there so it can't move, and then a wheel out there, and I might do that yet, but it does work in its current configuration. So I'm inclined to keep it like that for now. The main body of the thing here is actually an idler pulley off, I think it was an 89 Ford F-150 at tension to serpentine belt. You can use an idler off basically anything. What I liked about this one is that it's got this metal case on it, and then the actual bearing sits down inside, so I'm not welding to the bearing. I'm not going to burn the grease out or something. The inside of it, the part that connects it, I've got a bolt and washer here, and I've got a speaker magnet, and then I've got a washer and a nut, and a bigger washer because they didn't fit right welded to it. Basically those go into here and press up against this inner race. I only had to do this funny stuff with the washer so that it wouldn't hit that. See, this isn't quite on center, but it doesn't really need to be. So yeah, get it set to the length you want. Measurement from there to the center of that will be the radius of your circle. And this is just an old door out of the river, actually. Pretty sure it's off an International. Here goes. Okay, so as you can see, there's a bit of a shortcoming to this design in that there is a little bit of slop. So I'm just going to clean that up here real quick. Again, a bearing at the end of this would solve that. And a bearing here instead of this crappy slippy thing I've got now. Good. It's also worth noting that the Hypertherm torch is supposed to be a drag tip model, which means you can drag the tip right on it. For a model you have to hold just a little bit above, or honestly for stuff this rough, it would still be good to have some way to adjust and have it not be dragging. But yeah. For an old idler bearing and some scrap metal and an evening's work, I think I did okay.